Is this the one and only Camille Abbott?
It is, Judd. How are you?
I am absolutely fantastic now that I'm speaking with you, but more importantly, how are you?
I am great. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's such a pleasure to speak with you. I absolutely, as Dawn knows, I love working with you. We love working with you. So thank you for the opportunity to work with you. And again, thank you for taking the time to speak today. I know you're just a tad bit busy being one of the most exceptional leading luxury realtors in the amazing market of Austin, Texas, with Kuper, Sotheby's International Realty.
Well, it has been, I have to admit, it has been an amazing ride since 2020. Um,
That's a
as you
good way to put it.
know, I have been in the business for a long time and I have
Yep.
never experienced what we're experiencing now.
And you just said it very well. You said, what a ride since 2020, yet then you ended the statement with what we're experiencing now. So this ride that started obviously with COVID and the pandemic back around March, April of 2020 and continues to accelerate at an unprecedented level, right? I mean, you could have never dreamed in your already fantastic career prior to March, April of 2020 that, I mean, no one could have possibly described to you
No.
that something like this would happen. You couldn't, even if someone had said to you, okay, why don't you write out the greatest possible luxury real estate market that you would love to work in? I'm guessing you couldn't have created a level at which you would dream that this would be, correct?
Oh, definitely not. When I got in the business, I wanted to sell a house that was $100,000.
Right.
And because that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a conference, and there were two women sitting in front of me, and they were talking about that they had sold $1 million worth of real estate that year because the average price in Austin, Texas, was around $36,000.
Amazing.
And I was like, wow, if I could do that, I would be so excited. And now, I mean, well, that's non-existent. You can't even buy dirt for that. And
Right.
a few years ago, I sold a $10 million listing, and I was like, okay, we have arrived now. And I have that listing on the market right now for 25 million.
Amazing. That is
And
just amazing.
it is amazing. It is amazing. And the most amazing part about that, it belongs to a friend of mine that I ate lunch with every day of my senior year of high school.
Oh, what a great story.
It is a great story. And his wife, I took sewing class with in high school. And it's an amazing story. It's an amazing house. And it just, every day something else comes on the market. And our company, in 2020, on the day that we were ordered shelter in place, I moved into a new house and moved my business home. I always had a desk and an office, always, and could not believe I was moving everything home. And it shut down. There was nobody on the streets. Our company, the amazing Jay Kuper, turned our company around on a dime. We went to Zoom meetings. He brought in the leading economist in the state to talk to us.
Wow.
And he said, everybody better prepare because in June and July, and that was March 25th, that happened.
Hmm.
He said, you better get ready because in June and July, there is going to be a pent up demand like you have never seen before.
Interesting.
And he was on the money, and we were prepared. And I got my house and my desk set up, and I mean, talk about hit the ground running. We all did, and it has not stopped at
That
all.
that is really fantastic. You're the first realtor that we work with that I've spoken to, done podcasts with, that has explained a scenario like that where your broker owner brought in an economist like that. How genius.
It was a stroke of genius, and the things that he said to us, I mean, happened almost to the minute that he's told us it was going to happen. Jay brought him back in August, and we clicked off everything that he said it was going to happen. And he told us what was going to happen in the next 6 months. And it all happened. And it was amazing. And we put those podcasts out to our clients, and they were all amazed as well. And the most amazing part about it, everybody keeps talking about, well, at that time they said, well, it's a bubble. And we kept saying, this is not a bubble. This is not going away. And the businesses keep coming into Austin. California has moved here in droves.
Yeah.
The Google campus is here, Facebook is here, and they just keep moving. And now we have Tesla. Yeah. And all of the ancillary companies that feed into Tesla are here. And we have parts of Austin that all of us thought would, never be part of Austin are part of Austin. Right. We have people moving in from Seattle because they wanted to get out of what's going on in Seattle. And they've kind of moved out in the suburbs. I live in Dripping Springs, which is a suburb. And Dripping Springs was literally a one intersection, little bitty town in the beginning, and it's far from that now.
Thank you. You're very well spoken, and thank you for explaining all that and telling that story. And at the core of that, which is at the core of obviously our conversation and what you do, is how magnificent of a market, quote unquote market, that Austin is. It's just such an amazing story. Many of the items that you just touched upon, of course, but then just what Austin's experienced, what it's achieved, the culture, obviously the luxury real estate. It really checks off so many boxes. And being in the state of Texas, it's just such an amazing market. And so how incredible for you to have built your amazing luxury real estate career in the great city of Austin.
It has been, and I feel very blessed. I came here as a student at the University of Texas, and my aunt was one of the first women on campus to be made a full professor. And so I've been coming to UT all my life, and then when I got here, I got the only job teaching high school theater. There were only 8 high schools, and I got the one job, and so I got to stay and made a whopping $600 a month. I got my first check and went, oh dear, this is a problem. And
oh dear.
And so I got into real estate and just absolutely loved it, and went through 3 or 4 booms and busts. And like every real estate agent around that goes through a bust goes, please God, just let it come back, and I promise I won't screw this up again. Right. And so I'm here and just thank my lucky stars every day that I'm in Central Texas. But at the same time, I'm like all the rest of us that have been here so long that have gone, wow, what happened to the little town that I knew? Because it is now very sophisticated. There are places to go out to eat that I can't even begin to tell you all the places that are here. And I used to know every one of them. My husband and I have our favorite places to eat, and those are really old school now. And it's just been it's been wonderful to see what has happened. Lake Austin, the waterfront is at a premium. It's amazing about that. And those were truly, so many of those tracts were vacation homes for people who lived in Austin, and they were considered out of Austin, and that's no longer the case at all.
Amazing. It's such a great, I love reading about Austin. I love obviously how, you're giving me so much more insight on it, but it's really one of the greatest growth, stories, in my opinion, in the United States of America, if not the world.
Absolutely. And, I have to throw in this little aside because I also had the good fortune of being on the board of the Paramount Theater. And the Paramount Theater is one of 75 John Epperson theaters left in the United States. And back in the late 80s, early 90s, the Texas Commerce Bank called a note that was due on it, $150,000. And, if we didn't save the theater, it was going to be torn down. And there was a group of us that we put our nose to the grindstone, and we would make calls at night asking for $5 to save the theater. And so we did save it, and there's 6 of us past presidents that every year that we have what we call duck dinner. And when we were doing all this and all this craziness, we'd always say, you know, we're saving this for our grandchildren and for generations of Austinites to come to and see this, because Houdini performed on that stage, Katharine Hepburn was on that stage. And
Fantastic.
So now it's all come full circle, and we're into our 29th duck dinner, and my granddaughter will perform on that stage this summer. And when we set all this up for her, she's going to a camp, and the last night of the camp, they'll perform on the stage. And I said, you need to be aware that your grandmother's name is on the wall of that theater, and there's a seat with your grandmother and grandfather's name on it. And, you know, we're just all so excited because that came to pass. And I based my career on giving back to the community that has given so much to me. And now my own granddaughter is going to be able to be on a stage that I fought very hard for. And everybody still will call me and go, what's going on at Paramount? Well, I don't know. That's been 20 years ago or better. But it's still a large part of who I am and what I wanted to always do with my career. And, you know, UT is still here, even though you don't go over there because there's a major traffic jam. But still, it's just kind of wonderful to be a part of all of that.
Again, so very well spoken and so well said. Those were obviously bullet points that I wanted to touch upon and ask you about with respect to the relationships that you cultivate and that you build so well and that you focus on, the giving back that you do to the community, and such a beautiful story to really expand upon and touch upon all of that. So thank you very much. And I would imagine that it would be that there's a touch of even more meaningfulness with respect to the upcoming performance that you mentioned you're going to see, and the fact that from what I'm reading right now and doing my due diligence on you is at one point, and this circles back to what you mentioned you were doing at UT Austin when you got your first paycheck for $600, but you wanted to make your way to the Broadway stage at one point, correct?
Oh yes, and it's near and dear to my heart. You know, I can't think of any better place to be than Broadway. And so I spent quite a bit of time since I didn't make it there. I got to take my oldest granddaughter this year before the theater shut down again in New York. We spent a weekend in New York going to the theater, and she saw her first Broadway play, which I feel like that you need to, even if you aren't on stage, you need to know about that. And you need to know what wonderful things happen in the arts. And that's just part of being an educated person. So I got to take her. And that was a wonderful, wonderful experience. We saw Hamilton. I'd seen everything that I took her to, but she got to see it and loved it. And I kind of consider that as part of my legacy to my grandchildren. And I'm taking the younger ones to go see The Lion King at Bass, which is the theater at UT. And we have set up scholarships for students at UT in my name, which I'm really excited about, which will allow them to spend a semester in New York City deciding if the theater is the place for them. But the theater is very dear to my heart. And all of that happens because of my real estate career. And it all goes back to what I first set out to do when I got into real estate. So it's just a wonderful ride for me, and it just makes me happy.
What an amazing story. You're an incredible person. You know that, Camille Abbott?
Well, thank you. It's just what I do and what I love to do. And, in terms of performing, since I didn't make it on the stage, what I have cutting horses. And so, in the show pen on a cutting horse, it's you and the horse and a string of cows. And so that's kind of like being on stage.
For sure.
And because it's a show arena. And so that's my other love in life. And doing all of this allows me to do that. And I get to work with a world-class trainer, and the kids all come to that and get to cheer Grammy on. And it's huge fun. And it all meshes back together because through that, I've also gotten to work with ranch properties and horse people are like theater people. They're fabulous. They're just wonderful people. And all of this meshes back in to real estate because through that, I have people call and go, I know you have a great horse property in your back pocket. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. But I still have the opportunity. And so I have this, I'm just very blessed that I have all of this coming together in this kind of perfect storm in this particular time in real estate. It couldn't be better. And I also have to say, your magazine, I got my copy and I just loved it. I
Thank
just
you.
loved it, and one of my kids was going through the publication I'm in, one of my grandchildren, and they went, wow, this looks like Grammy. And her sister went, that's because it is Grammy. She goes, well, I want to be in a magazine. I said, well, you can pay for a magazine too, and you too can be in a magazine.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that, and thank you very much for the compliment on Elevated Magazines. I really, really appreciate it. And again, I am honored and humbled and grateful that you are one of our amazing clients in the pages. And I love how you just discussed everything you just did and how it all does mesh together, and just this perfect, magnificent, profound, just prolific storm that has culminated and at the same time has been created by you with respect to, again, as you put it, how you've meshed everything together. It's how you have meshed together your passion for Austin, your passion for the arts, your passion for your family and your grandkids and your friends in the community, and to take all of them, the performing, and then to take all of that and be able to, during this unprecedented time, work with so many, I can only imagine, incredible new, of course, and current, but new clients coming into the Austin market, which you touched upon at the beginning with respect to those coming from Seattle and California, of course, and whatnot, and to show them this market that, as you said, with respect to the little side community that you live in, or was little, years ago, had one intersection, and now to show them this market that, again, is one of the, in my opinion, greatest success stories, greatest stories in general of a market and a market's growth on the planet. It just must be so exciting and exhilarating, and it must be hard to sleep at night because you're so excited to get up the next day.
It is, and my business is really relationship based. I kind of like to bring people into my world, and I think that one of the things that I do really, really well is listen. And people that I work with, they know this about me, and I've had people say, we want to work with you because you are so direct, and we know you're going to tell us exactly how things are. And I think that's, it's a strong point and it's a weak point because, some people don't want to hear how it really is. But
That's true.
it's the truth.
It's the truth. That's human nature.
It's human nature. And that's who I am. And it's very exciting. And I have people that I have worked with for 25 years. I have one family that I just closed on a house for one of them that I've known since he was 5 years old.
That's amazing.
And it's just a very interesting story how all that kind of just kept on from generation to generation. But all of my business is relationship based. And I called one of them the other day, and she called me back and she said, I saw your name pop up and I knew I had to return this phone call. And we just want to know how you are. And my husband had a stroke a year ago, and she goes, we just need to know how you are. And I said, well, I'm doing great. It's all great. And then her husband called me back and went, well, she got to talk to you and I didn't. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
I just love having all the relationships that I have with my clients. And because they call and, they call just to say, how are you? And I think that's pretty special. Or they'll call and say, I know you're really busy. You probably don't have time to talk to me. Yeah, I do. I always have time to talk to people. And, my dad had a construction business in Houston. I'm a native Houstonian. And my mom and I always knew he built service stations for the old Sinclair.
Wow.
And we knew that if we stopped to get gas, that my dad was going to be in the service station for 30 minutes because he was going to talk. And I kind of got that gift to gab. And we used to, when my husband and I, we would travel and we get on the airplane and he would go, I know you want to get in the middle of that conversation, but don't say anything to anybody. We don't have time. And so I got that gift of gab, and I just enjoy talking to people and what they have to say. And it has served me well in the real estate business. And I do think listening is my strong point. And I tell people, if I call you and say, bring your checkbook, I've got the house, I'm not kidding. Bring your checkbook, I've got the house. And I may say, come look at this, humor me. It may not be exactly what you're looking for, but I think it's going to work. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Just tell me and we'll move on. But if I say humor me, I think it's got something that you want to see and you want to know about. And that's worked for years and years.
And I would imagine that right now it's working at an even greater accelerated pace day to day just in this market, because with respect to inventory and demand on inventory and obtaining inventory, having the relationships that you have and the way you've developed them, you're able to have access to inventory that others wouldn't know about before they do, and be able to, as you said, get your clients on the phone and say, bring your checkbook.
Yes, and our company, we have a marvelous network. Our agents, we have fabulous agents, and we have a network as well that we kind of know about what's coming up and what may not be on the market, and what there's a possibility that it is. And so we have a really great network within that. And then the Austin agents, we've always been a little different than other cities in that the Austin agents have never really seen each other in an adversarial position. We've all been friends forever, and we've all been open to sharing. And it's changed a little bit simply because, we have new agents coming in, and it just changed a little bit. But over the years, we've all kind of worked together as opposed to being on different sides. And it's been nice in that regard, because we've been able to call up people and go, hey, I've got this, do you have anything coming up? And 9 times out of 10, the agent on the other phone will go, yeah, I do. And
that's very unique.
Been wonderful, and it's unique.
Very unique. I was just racking my brain trying to think of even one other market, and leading luxury dealers within such as yourself, where they could make a statement like that, and there's absolutely not one.
Yeah, and we have been told that before. And I also think it's wonderful that a couple of years ago we had our company sponsored what was called the Texas Networking Event, and you could invite agents from other places. So I invited a man from New York City that I had met at our at a networking event that was put on by Sotheby's, and he had or has the Woolworth building listed, all those condos there. And then a friend that was at Jameson Sotheby's in Chicago, and a friend from Arizona that she works at Sotheby's there. And so we had this great little group of people, and they all came, and I had all kinds of swag bags and this kind of stuff, and we've all stayed in touch. And so it's really wonderful to be able to call up to New York and go, hey, I've got this, you got anybody? And they send me business, and we talk back and forth, and all those relationships are still intact. And it's friends as well as agents. And, we touch base, and I've got a little group of Sotheby's agents up and down the West Coast that we try and get together once a month via Zoom and talk about what's going on. So I'm aware of what's going on the West Coast and in Arizona. And obviously the West Coast is, that is a target market for us here. And I think that's one of the really nicest things about Sotheby's, and that everyone gets together. And there's a ski-in conference going on in, I think it's Montana or Wyoming, that's coming up in February. And I'm afraid of heights, and skiing is not. The last time I went skiing, I had to be skied off the mountain by the ski patrol.
Oh
It
no.
wasn't pretty.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So that's not my thing, but
I
I
guess
think the
not.
networking available to Sotheby's agents is wonderful.
Yes, very well said. And I do love the Sotheby's agents that we do work with, and all of them do speak very highly of the networking. And you know, with the group events such as the one you just mentioned up in the ski resort, I will be laughing about that one for probably a few days. So thank you. I'm actually an avid snowboarder, so I can I get the, you know, I've seen many people getting taken off the hill in the by the
Yeah.
ski patrol. Fortunately, you're laughing about it, so it wasn't a.
Yeah, well, my kids all thought it was hilarious. But now I did spend 5 days herding horses through the mountains in Idaho at a lope or a trot, so I'm not scared to do that. But I don't do snow and small skis any longer.
I hear you. I understand. And but again, yes, the Sotheby's agents we work with, they all speak very highly of the networking, whether it's their own mini groups that they've set up or the bigger, you know, company event groups. And Sotheby's just in general has such, you touched upon this quickly at one point, just has, I mean, the marketing the company does overall in the United States and internationally is fantastic. The digital and the online and the search and just the inventory components, it's really quite a fantastic, amazing company. And most of the agents, such as yourself, for the majority, you can just, within a few minutes of speaking with them, I can almost tell they're with Sotheby's, because it's a different caliber.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And you, Camille Abbott, are at the highest caliber, and that's a fact. And I say that in all sincerity. This is one of the greatest conversations I have personally ever had with a leading luxury realtor. So thank you very, very much for taking the time. I
Thank
sincerely
you.
appreciate it, and thank you for. Is there anything that because I know I've got 2 minutes of your time left. Is there anything I didn't ask you that I should have, or anything that we didn't touch upon that we should have?
Oh, no, I could go on for hours, but it's been wonderful. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. And no, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Camille Abbott, Kuper, Sotheby's International Realty in the amazing Austin market.